out the room, didn't we?
So who did the food at lunch?
Brown bag.
They at New
They are
Country?
across from P.F. Chang's.
On the other side of the street. There are guys that started, Gordon was telling us about, they started at UT and doing catering business. And so they've opened one here. Their wives are from, one's a teacher. Let me open the meeting by saying thank you to the Parks and Rec for providing a good lunch for us, and we appreciate that very much. It was courtesy of a restaurant here in town over in Cool Springs called Brown Bag, so we thank them. Because our machine won't let us load in the roll call, I'm going to make an announcement that everyone has returned except for the commission chairman, Jack Walton, and Lou Green. Lou was getting tired and he decided to go on home. So we will have 22 people present from this point on unless someone else has to leave. I know several of you got to catch flights, so we'll see how we can do. First item back, 7/17/20 coming from the highway superintendent. Excuse me. 7/17/21 coming from the budget director. Resolution appropriating amending the 2017-18 capital projects budget by $515,000 for the purchase of various parks and recreation equipment. The revenues coming from the Recreation Privilege Tax Fund. Commissioner Osborne.
Move for approval.
Proper motion and second. Parks and Recreation Committee report.
4-4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
3-4-0 against.
Explanation, please.
Yes, this is appropriating and amending capital projects, purchase various parks and rec equipment that's set out below, and the funds are coming from the Recreation Privilege Tax Funds.
Thank you. Questions? Ready to vote? 7-17-21. All in favor, please push your button, your yes button. Hard to make an old dog change. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson, would you record the vote?
22 yes.
Thank you. Resolution passes unanimously. 7-17-22, resolution appropriating amending the 2017-18 capital projects budget by $325,000 for the purchase of fire equipment for the Williamson County Volunteer Fire Service. Revenues to come from the Fire Protection Privilege Tax Fund. Dana.
Move for approval.
Proper motion and seconded. It went to one committee. Committee report, Dana, and explanation.
Budget Committee 3-4-0 against. This is capital budgets of $325,000. Revenues are coming from fire protection privilege tax to fund those.
Thank you. Questions? See none, you ready to vote? If you're in favor of this resolution, please press your yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson.
22 yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes unanimously. 7-17-23, resolution appropriating and amending the 2017-18 Highway Department budget by $75,000 and related operating transfers from the paving expenses, revenues coming in from the Highway Privilege Tax Fund.
Move for approval.
Yes. Highway Commission voted unanimous on this. Done the Budget Committee report and the explanation, please.
Budget Committee 3-4-0 against, and this is moving $75,000 from the revenues from the Highway Privilege Tax Fund to fund Highway Department budget.
Thank you. Questions? See none. Ready to vote? 7-17-23. All in favor, push your yes button. Those opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote may do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson, would you record the vote?
22 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. The resolution passed unanimously. 7-17-24, coming from the Sheriff's Office, resolution appropriating amending the 17-18 Sheriff's Office Field Division budget by $50,000 for the purchase of certain courtroom security equipment coming from the reserve account. Whose handwriting? Commissioner Sturgeon. Proper motion and second. This did it go to your committee also?
I'm not sure because we didn't review it as a committee.
Okay.
No.
Dana, the Budget Committee's vote and explanation, Ms. Sturgeon.
Yeah, this is us using the privileged litigation tax to pay for security equipment for the Sheriff's Department.
Thank you. The Budget Committee vote.
3-4-0 against.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes. Here.
Commissioner Milligan?
If anybody here knows, which baggage scanner are we replacing?
Mr. If I may, I asked Sheriff Long that question, and he stated during the Budget Committee that it was the one in the Justice Center.
Okay.
Other questions? Commissioner Herbert?
That was my question.
Any other questions? Ready to vote on 7-17-24. All in favor, push their yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. Resolution passed unanimously. 7/17/25, Register of Deeds, resolution appropriating amending the 17-18 Register of Deeds budget by $65,500. Revenues to come from the document recording fees. Dana?
Move for approval.
Proper motion and seconded. Budget Committee reports and an explanation, please.
Budget Committee 340 against, and this is appropriating $65,500. Revenues is coming from document recording fees in the Register of Deeds office.
Questions? See none, ready to vote? 7/17/25. All those in favor push the yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson, would you record the vote?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. Commissioner Sturgeon? Your button, did you want to say something? Okay. Moving on, 7/17/26 from the County Clerk's Office, resolution appropriating amending the 2017-18 County Clerk's budget by $15,858. Revenues to come from the reserve account. Dana?
Move for approval.
Proper motion and second. The committee report and explanation, please.
Budget Committee 340 against. This is amending the county clerk's budget for office equipment and maintenance of office equipment using reserve county clerk funds.
Thank you. Questions? I see none. Ready to vote on 7/17/26. If you're in favor of this, please press the yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. 7/17/27, Circuit Court Clerk, resolution appropriating amending the 2017-18 Circuit Court Clerk's budget by $30,000. Revenues to come from the reserve account. Dana?
Move for approval.
Proper motion and seconded. Budget Committee reports and an explanation, please.
340 against, and this is for office equipment using revenues from the circuit court clerk's budget.
Thank you. Questions? I see none. You're ready to vote. 7/17/27. If you're in favor, please press the yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. Coming from the clerk and the master, 7/17/28, resolution appropriating amending the 2017-18 clerk and masters to Chancery Court budget by $13,000. Revenues coming from the reserve account. Dana?
Move for approval.
Proper motion and second. Committee report and explanation, please.
340 against, and this is for data processing equipment for Chancery Court using revenues from their reserve account.
Thank you. Questions? Ready to vote on 7/17/28. If you're in favor, push the yes button. If you're opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, this would be the time. Waiting on one. Thank you. Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. The resolution passes unanimously. Coming from the library, 7/17/29 resolution appropriating amending the 2017-18 library budget by $52,180. Revenues to come from the library fines reserve. Entertain a motion. Dana?
Move to approve.
Proper motion and seconded. Committee reports and an explanation. Dana?
340 against. This is expenditures for shelving and signage. Revenues are coming from library fines.
Question?
Thank you, Commissioner Payne.
David Pear said he's going to vote his conscience. Ready to vote on on the library? All those in favor push their yes button. Those opposed, their no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, please do so at this time. How much do you average a year?
52,000.
Love it. Mrs. Anderson, give us the vote on Mr. Pear's money.
2 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. The resolution passes unanimously. 7/17/30, Office of Public Safety, resolution appropriating amending 17-18 capital project budget by $5,490,664 to provide funding for the Motorola radio project. Revenues are coming from donations received from the cities of Franklin and Brentwood. Ms. Sturgeon?
Motion to approve?
Proper motion and second. Committee report, law enforcement.
540 against.
Thank you. Budget committee.
340 against.
Thank you. Commissioner Sturgeon, explanation, please.
Yeah, this resolution is incorporating Brentwood and Franklin's contribution to the infrastructure for our radio networking system here in the county.
Thank you. Good explanation. Questions? I see none. You ready to vote on 7/17/30? Those in favor, push the yes button. Those against, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, please do so at this time. We're waiting on nobody. Ms. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. Passed unanimously. 7/17/31, coming from the Office of Public Safety, resolution appropriating amending the 17-18 capital projects budget by $179,950. Revenues coming from donations received from the Emergency Communication District. Commissioner Sturgeon?
Motion to approve.
Proper motion and seconded. Committee reports, law enforcement, please.
440 against.
Budget committee.
340 against.
Explanation, Madam Chairman.
Yep, this is funds that are collected from our 9/11 calls and used for dispatch operations for emergency management.
Question. I see none. You ready to vote on 7/17/31? All in favor, push the yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Those wishing to change your vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. Thank you. 7/17/32, Health Department resolution appropriating amending the 17-18 Health Department budget by $27,618.85. Revenues coming from state grant funds. Dana?
Move to approve.
Proper motion and second. It only went through one committee. Committee report and explanation, please.
Budget Committee 340 against. The Health Department was awarded a state grant several years ago. Some of that grant money was not used, so that this is rolling it forward, and the grant was for targeting youth, pregnant women, and secondhand smoke and how that affects children.
Questions? I see none on 7/17/32. If you're in favor of the resolution, push yes. If not, push no. If you need to change your vote, now's the time. Mrs. Anderson, record the vote.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. Thank you. 7/17/33, Health Department resolution appropriating amending the 17-18 Health Department budget by $7,500. Revenues to come from the county general fund balance. Dana?
Move for approval.
Proper motion and second. Committee report and explanation, please.
Budget Committee 340 against. This is $7,500 taken from the county general fund that would create or connect a storybook trail in the city of Fairview.
Questions? Could I ask a question, just from the chair? Isn't this also money that we didn't spend in Fairview for this, and we're rolling it forward?
It is.
Okay. Questions? Ready to vote? 7/17/33. Those in favor, push the yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, please do so at this time. Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. Thank you. 7/17/34 from Parks and Rec. Resolution appropriating amending the 17-18 Parks and Recreation budget by $8,459.98. Revenues to come from reserved for donations. Dana?
Move for approval.
Second.
Proper motion and seconded. Parks and Rec Committee,
4-0 against.
Budget Committee,
3-4-0 against.
and an explanation, please.
These are funds that were received from the Grassland Youth Athletics Association and to help pay for and purchase a utility vehicle for maintenance of the ball fields.
Thank you. Questions? Ready to vote? Those in favor, push the yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, this would be the time to do that. Mrs. Anderson, would you record the vote, please?
22 yes, 0
Thank
no.
you. The resolution passed unanimously. Resolution 7-1735 from the Juvenile Court. Resolution authorizing myself to enter into a grant agreement with the Administration Office of the Courts and appropriating amending the 17-18 Juvenile Court budget by $5,000. Revenues coming from grant funds. Commissioner Sturgeon?
Motion to approve.
Proper motion and second. The only committee it went to was Budget.
3-4-0 against.
Commissioner Sturgeon, explanation, please.
Yeah, this resolution incorporates a $5,000 grant under Parent Education Mediation Grant Fund into the juvenile court budget.
Questions? Ready to vote on 7-1735. If you're in favor of this resolution, push the yes button. If you're not, push the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, this would be at this time. Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. 7-1736, coming from the sheriff, the Budget Department, resolution accepting the donation of a 2017 NV 2500 HR work van on behalf of the Williamson County Sheriff's Office and authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute all documents needed to accept this vehicle from Nissan North America. Commissioner Sturgeon?
Motion to approve.
Law Enforcement Committee vote, please.
4-4-0 against.
Budget Committee vote, please.
3-4-0 against.
Commissioner Sturgeon, an explanation, please.
Yes, Nissan North America has donated several vehicles, and I believe this is the fourth one so far, and we're happy to receive it.
On behalf of everyone, we say thank you to Nissan for being such a good corporate partner. Questions? Commissioner Dan, did I steal your thunder out there?
That's all right. I was going to say the same thing. But again, because I have an indirect conflict, I will be abstaining.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ready to vote on 7-1736. If you're in favor, please push the yes button. If you're opposed, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, now would be the time. Mrs. Anderson?
21 yes, it would abstain.
Thank you. The resolution passes. 7-1737, coming from the Health Director, the resolution authorizing myself to execute a grant agreement with the State of Tennessee Department of Health for the provision of dental services at the Williamson County Health Department at an amount not to exceed $175,800. Commissioner Dana?
Move for approval.
Committee report and an explanation, please.
Budget Committee 3-4-0 against. This is grant funds that assist Williamson County in providing a full-time dentist and dental assistant for services through our health department.
Questions? See none. Ready to vote on 7-1737. If you're in favor, push the yes button. If not, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote, now would be the time. Mrs. Anderson, would you record the vote?
22 yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes unanimously. 7-1738, coming from the Mayor's Office, resolution authorizing myself to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Transportation Management Association Group concerning federal grant project CM 9400 61 and state project 94 LPLM F3097. Dana.
Move for approval.
Proper motion is seconded. Went to one committee. The committee report and an explanation, please.
Budget Committee 3-4-0 against, and this is for Mayor Anderson to execute an MOU with TMA to outline the obligations of each party.
Questions? I see none. We ready to vote on 7-1738? If you're in favor, push the yes button. If you're not, the no button. And if you want to change your vote, this is the time to do it. Mrs. Anderson, would you record a vote?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passed unanimously. 7-1739, coming from Commissioner Sturgeon, resolution to express support for the county mayor to negotiate with the city of Franklin to investigate the valuation of the conference center of Cool Springs. Commissioner Sturgeon. Proper motion and second. The Tax Study Committee. I don't know who that is.
That would be Commissioner Lawrence.
Commissioner Lawrence.
3-4-0 against, sorry.
Thank you. Property Committee.
We did not meet, did not have a quorum.
Okay. And Budget Committee.
3-4-0 against.
Thank you. Commissioner, an explanation, please.
Yeah, this resolution is to express support for the mayor of our county to come up with a value for the conference center, because recently, in the last 4 years, we've shown dwindling revenues from the conference center, possibly because of more competition in the county from private interests. And I have to note that if you take the last 4 years' revenue and compare it to the previous 4 years' revenue, revenue is down about 45%. And it's my belief that a private entity could probably run this at a much higher level of profit, and I think it's served its purpose. It was a great idea back in '99 when we built it, but I believe if the valuation shows what I think it will show, that it's time to liquidate it. And I know this requires consultation with Franklin because they're half owners. And by voting yes on this resolution, you're supporting that direction for the county, for the conference center.
Question, Commissioner Danner.
Yes, I do have a question for you, Mayor. First of all, I did a graph of what we're doing revenue-wise, just to get a picture, and of what we're doing in actually the last 5 years. We've been on the decline since 2012. But I've had some conversations with some of our elected officials in the city, and I'm hearing that if we were to sell, no matter who that would be, whether it be us to sell to Franklin or Franklin wanted to sell also to somebody else, that there's something, can you speak to the need for improvements before we would sell? Parking decks or something, is that true? And if so, then why aren't we doing that now?
So answering from the chair, if I can, it does require consultation with Franklin. We've had one meeting, so they're aware that we are having this discussion. They'll have to do their own. The next step, we'll have to get outside help to figure out the valuation of not only the bricks and mortar, but the business side of the entity too, unless Franklin decides they want it. As far as the improvements to the conference center, we set aside, I believe it's 5% a year. We set aside 5% a year for improvements within the facility. We did this 3 or 4 years ago, where we changed the carpet and the lighting and things like that. The Marriott has not officially come to us and said, hey, we need more room, or we would like to expand. We know that's a possibility as time goes on, but they've not officially come to us and made the statement, we would like to participate, like for you all to participate, which would be the obligation of the city of Franklin and the county. So I don't know what else I could say beyond that, but if they were to expand, and if you all agreed to the expansion for the conference center along with Franklin, then that would require some capital at some point.
But if this body were to decide to sell after, this resolution is not that
That's
step,
correct.
but I just wanted to kind of follow through mentally with the next steps of this. If we were to do that, we don't need to do those improvements in order to put the for sale sign in the yard and sell our half.
No, and the other thing, you triggered a thought. Council has told me that once we get all that due diligence done, it would be my desire to have this come back to you later in the fall. But once you all make that determination, and we'll have to send it through the committees, we will also have to decide we will have to surplus it, except for negotiating with Franklin. Now, if Franklin wanted it to simply come back here and we figure out the price, and either way, we need to get the price. But if Franklin decides not to participating in this, legal counsel has said we have to surplus it and do it in that way rather than negotiate with somebody else.
And that is meaningful because we then would auction it? Is that what you're saying? Why would, I mean, we declare...
It has to go through the requirements of the 57 Purchasing Act, so we would have to declare it surplus property, and then we'd have to look at what process we used for actual sale, whether that was closed bid or what it might be.
See, if you remember a couple of months back, we surplused the old JL Clay on Bridge Street. In that mechanism, we used a seal bid, put a minimum on it, and we were able to obtain that. Other ways to do that is public auction. We don't have the avenue of negotiating except with Franklin.
Okay, good to know.
Other questions? We've got several. Who we got first?
Ryan.
Commissioner Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a question for the chair. If, I think I know the answer to this, but just to be safe, if we move forward with the valuation and everything falls in order and we actually do sell, are those funds earmarked in any way in terms of what the county can do with them? Or are we free to use it for debt, for capital improvements, or is it earmarked in a particular way?
The note has been paid off. We had that on a 20-year note. It paid off, I'm looking at Nina, about 2 months, 3 months ago. So whatever sale there is, we bring it back into county general funding.
Okay.
We don't have it earmarked specifically for that.
So it's not like the hospital that has to stay within healthcare. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kestner?
A question for council. If we go through the process, declare it surplus, can we not list this with a broker for sale, and the broker, like we do in the commercial world every single day? And I understand it'd be a whole lot easier if Franklin decides they want to sell too, so that we would be selling the thing intact in toto. But assuming that Franklin stood beside us and said, yeah, let's see what we can get, can we not go through a process where we use a professional broker, seek the highest bid, and then make a determination whether we want to accept that or not?
I'd have to go back and look at the process. I'm not aware of any provisions for the use of a broker in the 57 Purchasing Act.
Does that mean we're precluded, or does that mean we're allowed?
Well, as a county government, if we are not delegated a specific authority, we don't have it. So it would have to be something that were delegated to us through that Purchasing Act or the Budget Act in order to be able to do it. All other powers that we gain are given to us by the state. So
well, we're given the power to sell it, though, right?
We're given the power to sell it. The question, though, is once you've declared surplus, what procedures do you have to follow? And I don't know of anything that would allow us to go in something that would be analogous to a commercial broker method that's allowed in the statute. We have to follow that sale process as it's in the statute. And as I'm aware, we've got an exception for interlocal sales, the Franklin option. Other than that, and I'll have to go back and look at the specifics, but we'll have to meet those statutory specifics, which I believe are going to be either auction or closed bid. I don't think we have the option for broker.
An auction, I mean, I do this every day. I sell things with brokers. It's effectively an auction. I'm just using a broker to get the message out.
Oh, I think how we advertise that and such, there is this flexibility in that.
And then we would pay that broker a commission, correct?
Generally, that would be the case, yeah, okay, on the commercial side. But when I misunderstood your question, because I assumed that you were using the broker to negotiate with third parties as to numbers and prices and such. That's not allowed. Mm-hmm. That's the limitation.
But the broker could, in your mind, the broker could conceivably run an auction process for us.
I don't know of anything off the top of my head that would prohibit that. We'd have to look at it. That's not the sale itself. If they were
Right.
running an auction, and an auction is allowed, then we could go that method.
I would like to think we could use a sane and sensible and prudent approach to maximizing the value. And if in fact we can't, then we need to be sending resolutions to our state reps to enable us to do so in the future. This isn't 1957 anymore, but brokers did exist in 1957, as we all know, so, okay.
I think that's going to be dependent on what you are hiring the broker to do.
Well, we can thread those needles however we need to, but okay, thanks.
The time we get back later this fall, hopefully we'll have a lot more of those questions answered so that you all can make that determination. Because it is time to review it, and I applaud the efforts we're doing here. Other questions?
No.
Commissioner Milligan?
Okay, so there's a gentleman who came earlier this morning who came for public comment and unfortunately was operating under the misapprehension that he could speak later, despite the fact that you tried to explain that to him. So, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules, to let this gentleman speak for 60 seconds because he has stayed all day and came back. Give him 60 seconds to speak, to reward him for staying around before we vote on this. And no harm, no foul. It's just one person, and we're not setting a dangerous precedent here.
So if
I'll second that.
you're seconding that? If I get 2 objections, you can't do that.
Fair enough.
Do I have an objection? Objection? I object. You object? Do I have another?
I object.
That's 2. Thank you.
I was sensing that we might get to objections, so I asked him during the comment second ago what he wanted to say, and here's what he told me. He wants us to be clear that we should know exactly what an asset's worth before we determine whether or not we should sell it, and that's what you need to do. And so that's his message to you all. Thank you for listening to his voice through me.
Other questions? Comments? You ready to vote on 1739? If so, push your yes button. If you're opposed to this, the no button. This is the time to make any corrections, if you so desire. Mrs. Anderson, would you record the vote, please?
21 yes, 1 no.
Resolution passes. Thank you. Have 2 late file resolutions. Both of them are about leases. 7/17/40, resolution authorizing myself to execute a lease agreement with Naxos of America. This has gone through no committees. If you all would allow me to have Bobby come up, Bobby's here. Kenny Young's actually been working on this, and if you would just let me get it up on the floor. Somebody put it up on the floor. We'll talk about both of them at the same. Dana?
Motion for approve.
Second. Bobby, give us, since it's been to no committees, it's a late file. We had to rush it in last Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the resolution concerns or subleases, as you know, we bought the property on Beasley Drive. Before we bought the property, it was being leased to other individuals. One of them is the Greer Foundation that you have before you. We were not told about these subleases when we bought the property. It just came to our attention with about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that the gentleman that we were leasing to was subleasing it and didn't tell us. So what we had to do was basically tell them that, no, they've got to sublease straight with us. They've got to pay us, because basically he was collecting the money and increasing the rent on them. So it is for fair market value, and the term is 1 year. And I'll be glad to answer any specific questions concerning the lease.
Questions? Commissioner Sturgeon?
So Naxos, is that the person we're leasing to, or is that the sub?
That's the sub,
So now we're going to go directly to the sub.
correct. The subs will contract with us directly.
Okay, thank you.
All of our leases, none of our leases allow third party. That way we control everything. We know who's in there. Any other questions? Thank you, Bobby. Ready to vote on 7/17/40. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Push your yes.
Push your yes button. Those opposed, the no button. Anybody wishing to change your vote? do so at this time?
Technically, you could do this by voice.
Yeah, I could. I could do these by voice vote.
You could.
Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
We spent time, the resolution passed unanimously. We spent time to load it, so let's use it. The one resolution all of you are looking forward to, the last one, 7/17/41, authorizing myself to execute a lease agreement with the Gear Foundation on the same piece of property. Dana?
Move for approval.
Proper motion second. It did not go through any committees. It was filed late on Thursday or Friday of last week. Entertain any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of this, push your yes button. If not, the no button. Anyone wishing to change your vote at this time, please do so. Mrs. Anderson, would you give us card? You're not ready?
22 yes, 0 no.
One foot out the door.
Mrs. Anderson?
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes unanimously. We have one other item. Commissioner Milligan?
Okay, I may get through this, I may not. And if I don't, David, you gotta take over, okay? My family is growing. We have someone come to live with us, and because of that, we need to find a new residence. I have found a home in Bobby and Bert's jurisdiction. So if I can help you at all in your upcoming races and campaigns, please let me know. You're both welcome to put a sign in my yard. I'll be leaving you guys. Go ahead, David.
So I have his resignation letter in front of me. He has dated it and signed it to be effective July the 27th. And he'd like to say in this that he expresses his gratitude for friendship, camaraderie, and professionalism that you all have demonstrated during his term. While we don't always agree, our debates were honest and thoughtful, and what is best for our county and our constituents expect that. Know that I want to miss each and every one of you terribly. So thank you for being a part of this group for the last several years, and we'll process this while David Pear is thinking about this next comment. Since it's effective on the end of the month for the 27th, our normal processes would be to advertise for this position to serve out the term of this county commissioner, which will be through August 31, 2018 next year. David, if you've given it thought, you can direct us what you'd like to do if anyone is interested in that.
Have them submit the information through your office, and I guess we'd look at doing this in September.
So for those people that are watching this from the Spring Hill area, the 3rd District, there will be an opening at the end of this month. If you're interested in that position, simply mail it to the county mayor's office, and we'll get busy on trying to get you the names of candidates for your September meeting.
Will you put a deadline on that where they need to submit it by? Or should we?
If I can get Diane to pull it up on our calendar when our filing deadline, but also understand that anyone could be nominated from the floor at the county commission level. But as far as mailing those resumes, that would be or probably August something.
It will be August the
Always hitting the button on the
28th. Yeah.
August the 28th. August the 28th would be the time we would send them out to all of you. At noon. Anything else to come before this body? I've enjoyed working with you this year. Thanks for letting me sit up here again. It's been a long time, but I guess I told a couple of you I enjoyed it. I'd rather have Jack. I know you're watching this, and to all those men and their health and women, hope they get better. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn so you can go back to your real jobs. Thank you.